look at this division of a line in a given ratio. So when a line is being divided into a given ratio, sometimes they may ask you to find the coordinate of the point of the division. I hope you understand what we mean by this. Let me show you with this graph work so that you understand what we are talking about. Let me use this to demonstrate it. You can see what I have here. Let me move the slider to 0. Let me move this to 0 so that we'll start from scratch. Okay, this P and Q, these are my ratio. P and Q are my ratios. So they are in 0, 0, and these are my lines. You see my first point. You can move it to anywhere you like. You can see. You can move the point to any extent you wish. So that is it. Okay, let me leave it in. Okay, let me just leave it here. Okay, let's take this as our 2 points. So I have point A and point B. So this is a line. So instead of asking you to divide it into 2 equal parts, that is the midpoint. Instead of asking you to find the midpoint, they can tell you to find the ratio now of division. They can give the ratio. So if P and Q are the ratio, let's move this. Let's say they ask you to do it ratio 1 to 1. For example, this is 1. Let me move this to 1 also. So this ratio 1 to 1. So ratio 1 to 1, you know, is the midpoint. So ratio 1 to 1 is the midpoint of the line. So you divide from A to the center should be equal to from B to the center. So this is midpoint of the line. If you use our midpoint formula, you'll see that this is the answer. Let's just do it fast. Remember the formula: x2 plus x1, which is 8, plus 1, which is 9. 9 divided by 2, and see it's 4.5. Then this is 4 plus 4 is 8, which is y2 plus y1, which is 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So ratio 1 to 1 is midpoint. And that is what we did in our previous session. But they may change this ratio. Let's say they change this ratio to, let's say 3 ratio 2, for example. You can see where 3 ratio 2 is. So this is what they will ask you to find. And you know, we easily got this answer because of our graph. That is why you can see the system just solve it and give us our answer. But assuming you are not using graph, how do you get this exact point into this ratio 3 to 2? The point can be changed. They can change it to anywhere. B can be placed here. 5 and 9, these are the coordinates of point B. You see, this is the ratio to 3 ratio 2. I can change the ratio. It can be 5 ratio 2. You can see it, 5 ratio 2. That is, I know what 5 ratio 2 means. It's just telling us that from A, 5 is the first ratio. 5 from A, move 5 steps towards the side. You can see it. Then from B, move 2 steps towards the side. You know, the ratio, they are both positive. So this type of ratio that both numbers are positive, we usually call it division of a line internally. This is internal division. You can see that the ratio P ratio Q, which is 5 ratio 2, divide this line AB internally. See, the ratio is inside. But if this ratio is negative, let me show you what I mean. Let's say P is negative. You can see as I'm moving closer to 0, just watch the point as I'm moving this slider. See, 3, 2, see, it's going now 2 to 2. This is midpoint. This is the midpoint. 2 to 2 is also 1 ratio 1. So this is 1. When I go to 0, you see, it's on the same point. When I go to negative, you can see this external division. Question can also come out like this. They can tell you to divide the line externally, but it's the same formula you are going to use. All you just need to know is the formula to use to get the internal division or external. Now you can see that A and B has been divided externally according to this ratio. That means one of the ratios is negative. If one of the ratios are negative, that means your division is going to be external. What this one means is that since the first point is -1, that means your A, you are going to move in negative direction. So that's why you see it's outside. Negative direction will not be inside. Positive direction is inside the line, but negative direction will be outside. That's why we say external division. You see, -1 will move the answer outside, then +2 will now return back to point B positively. So the target is where will this point be? -1, then +2 to this place, just like that. If the P is positive, let's say P is 4 for example, let's say Q is negative, just watch what will happen. As Q is approaching negative, you can see the point is going towards B. When B is positive, you can see it's moving closer to A, so I'm increasing Q. But when Q, that is the denominator now, 8 as it's approaching negative is going closer to B. So when it becomes negative, it will go outside this line. That means it's going to divide this line externally outside this line AB. So you see what will happen. So 0 is already at the point B. So when I go to -1, you see we cannot see it again. It's outside. You can see it. It's external. What this one means is 4. First of all, move positive direction towards this side. Then -1 will come back to B, just like that. Positive direction, negative direction. While in the first case of negative P, you have negative, positive to B, just like that. But don't allow this to confuse you. It's not a difficult thing. When you know the formula, you will get the same result. We'll compare our result with what we have here. So let's use this example. Let's just pick a simple example. Okay, let's take Q to be, let's say, ratio 3 for example. Let's say I have this point. Let me use this example. Let's say I have this point now. Point A and B. Let me move my graph up so that you can see it well. I think you can see it very well. Okay, I have point A and B. And the question wants us to find the coordinate of this point that divide this line into ratio 4 to 3. They will give you these two coordinates, just like midpoint. They will give you A and B. Then all they will want you to do is to get the coordinate of the division point. So what do you do? Similar to what we did in midpoint, your target is this point. So let's call it X and Y. Let's just call it S, Y. Same thing we did then. Okay, so that is it. Take note. Then don't forget, remember the first point. Okay, let me also label it. You know, the first point, we usually call it X1 and Y1. So don't forget that. Let me see if I can get the X1 symbol. Okay, let me get the X1 symbol. Okay, I have it here. So this is X1, comma. So we have our Y. Let me get the symbol also. That's Y1. I need to delete this out. I need my brackets here. Need my close brackets here. Okay, so this place need to be Y. Okay, so this is X1, Y1. Okay. Okay, so X1, Y1. I think you can see it clearly. So 1 is X1, 4 is Y1. Then let's put on this side also. So let's open our bracket. Let's get our symbol here. So this is X2, comma. Then this is Y2. Need to change this to Y. We need to close our brackets. Okay. Alright, so this is what I want to get. So this is what we are saying. So point A and B will be given. So X1, Y1, X2, Y2 will be given in the question. So this is your target, just like midpoint. X1, Y1, X2, Y2 will be given. Then you now use your formula for midpoint to get the middle point. But in terms of ratio, the ratio will be given. So most times, yes, the ratio will be given, then x1, y1, x2, y2 will be given. It is only this place that we ask you to find the coordinate of the midpoint, which is x and y. So how do we get this? So let's do the analysis together. All you just need to do here is just to focus and you will understand it very well. If you look at the ratio, you will discover that if I take p as my ratio for the numerator, q as my ratio for the denominator, which is p ratio q. You understand? Let me also put the state words here so that you will understand what we are saying. If I take p ratio q, I think it's better like this. Okay. So if I take p ratio q, I think you can see it clearly here. So this is p ratio q. So p is the first number. They will give you this ratio in every question. So if I say p ratio q, if you notice this place, this is 4. You will see that starting from A, because A is the first point. From the first point A, you are moving 4. Because this is internal division. No negative in the ratio. If it's negative, that means you are going out. So this is internal division. So 4, you move from A, you move 4 steps inside. Then 3 from B, you move 3 inside. So P is for 4, Q is for 3. That means this is 4 divided by 3. That's what we have here, which is P divided by 3. Okay, by the time you get this, let's see. Another important thing you need to know now is the distance. What is the distance from A to this point? You also discover that the distance from A to this point is x minus x1. That is this distance from A to that ratio point, which is the coordinate of the division. Just like what we did in midpoint. Remember how I sketched the line down like this, which is x minus x1. That is this distance, but I don't need that ratio there. What I need is this distance. I'm using this distance there. So this is what we are going to do. Just put in this place, this is the distance from this point to A is going to be x, which is this x that we are looking for, x minus x1. So that is for the x coordinate. Then this side for the x coordinate is going to be x2, x2 minus x. So just take note of this. So x2 minus x. You know this line is x2, then this is x, the one we need. Then you now say x2 minus x will give you this distance. So by the time you get this, you take note. Then this time around, you are not equating them. No midpoint. We said this is equal to this. What you are going to do this time around is the ratio. Remember, we use the first point of the ratio p is A to the middle here, to the point you need. So x minus x1, you divide it by x2 minus x equals to p over q. If you know this, you are done with it. So from there, you make x the subject and you are okay. So the same thing applies to y. So y also, in this place, y is still similar to x, which is your y minus y1 also, just similar to what you did to x. So y minus y1, then the distance from this point to this point is also going to be y2, y2 minus y. So just remember these two basic information. If you remember it, you are done. So let me review again. For midpoint, you use the same thing as coordinate, as ratio. For midpoint, you equate them. This equal to this, then you solve for y. Then this equal to this, you solve for x. But for ratio, don't equate them. Ratio, you use the first distance, which is x minus x1, divided by the second distance, x2 minus x. Because the first ratio p, which is 4, this side. That is, if you do this, you will get your formula, then you can equate them to solve any question that is given to you. You will not have any issue. So let's just go to our write-up and solve this question and try this same example we have here. Let's see how they got this answer and the coordinate when you use this ratio. So let's try it and see. Okay. Now let me close this. I don't need it for now. Okay, let's go there. So for division into ratio, all you need to do let's start with x coordinate now. Let's start for division now. For division into ratio. So for division into ratio, let's start with x coordinate. So s is, or s will be. So let's start with x now. So all you need to do for x, remember what I told you the other time. Let's go to mathematical mode, which is x minus x x1. This time around, don't equate it to x2 minus x. This time around, divide it. Divided by x2 minus x. This is all you need. Then equate it to the ratio that is given. I'm using p and q as my ratio, so I will now equate it to equals to p over q. That is it. Then make x the subject. So that is all we're talking about. So when you solve this, you will get your result for x. So that's for the x coordinate. You do same for y coordinate and you are done. So let's just make it fun. So what do you do here? You cross multiply. When I cross multiply, I'm going to have, you know how to cross multiply, px2 minus, just watch as I put it down. So I have my p open bracket, I need the small letter, p open bracket x2 minus x, then equals to, p we times this, then q we times this side, which is q you open bracket x minus x1. So that is this step. Then we move on to the next step. We move this down a little, move to the next step. Then the next step is to open the bracket so that you can make x the subject. So you have your px2, I need mathematical mode. I have my px2 then minus px, then you equate it to qx minus qx1. Then go to the next step. Now px, you can see if I bring px to this side, minus px will become positive on this side, then minus qx will become positive here, which will now give us a px2. You know what we are doing? I have my px2. I want qx1 to come here because they are the two values that will be given in the question, which is to now be plus qx1. Then this one will now be equals to, then px will become plus when it comes over to now be px plus qx. Now x is common, I will factorize it now. When I factorize x out from this place, I'm going to have px2, in mathematical mode, px2 plus q plus qx1 now be equals to, so when you factorize x out, you have your x open bracket p plus q that equals to p plus q. The next thing is to divide both sides by p plus q. When you divide both sides by p plus q, we now have therefore x will now be equal to px2 plus qx1 divided by p plus q. So this is the coordinate of x when a line is divided into a given ratio. So this is what you are going to use when they ask you to divide a line into a given ratio for x. If you do the same for y, so solving the same for y, because of time, I will leave you to try that for y. Do the same thing, y minus y1 divided by y2 minus y equals to p over x. You will get the value for y, then solve your two coordinates and you are done. Just do the same, do the same for y, so you will get the same result. So before we go for today's class, let's try this. I want us to solve this problem we have here. Let's see how they got this answer given this ratio and this coordinate. Let's say a question comes like this. Let me put the question. Let's say a question comes like this. An example can come like this. Example, okay, they can say find the coordinate of the point. Trying to find the coordinate of the point in brackets. Okay, let me use the exact example we have here so that you get what we are saying. Okay, 1, 4, and 5 and 9. Okay, 1 and 4, 1 comma 4, and B 5 and 9. Okay. Okay, they can tell you to find the coordinate of the point A and B when divided into a ratio. Find the coordinate of the point, this and this. Okay, when divided into a ratio. Okay, 4:3. Question can come like this. They will, as I told you the other time, they will give you the ratio. They will give you x1, y1, x2, y2. So these are the two coordinates. To find the coordinate of the point, okay, of the point, let me put it where, of the point that divides this and this, and okay, like this. To find the coordinate of the point that divides A and B into, okay, let's leave it like this, into ratio 4:3. Okay, so the question is okay like this. So find the coordinate of the point that divide A and B into ratio this. So they can come in any form. If you are asked to find this, how do you do this? So just use this formula. You don't need to plot your graph and you move on. So you do for x and you do for y. So let's solve for x. If I start for coordinate x, so x is equals to p. Remember, is my first value in my ratio. So p will now be 4. So multiply 4 times x2 will be the second coordinate, x of the second coordinate, which is 5. 4 times 5, then it's always plus q is the ratio, which is 3, the second ratio of the is the denominator, which is 3. 3 times x1 is the first value here, which is 1. So take note, p times x2 plus q times x1. That is all you need to know. P times x2 plus q times x1. And x1 in this question is 1. Then you now divide your result by p plus q, which is 4 plus 3. Then that is all. You can simplify it fast. This is x equals to 20. 4 times 5 is 20. 20 plus 3. 20 plus 3 divided by 7. Then your final result will now be x is equals to 20 plus 3 will give you 23 divided by 7. That is the result for x. So you do the same for y. So y is equals to The same formula applies, just change x2 and x1 to y2 and y1. So p is 4, which is 4 times xy2, which is 9, 4 times 9 plus 4 times 9 plus q is 3, 3 times x1, sorry, y1 now will now be 4. 4, 3 times 4, then divide your result by 4 plus 3. 4 plus 3, that is the ratio. So that is all we are doing in ratio division, which is y equals to, so this is 36, 4 times 9 will give you 36 plus 3 times 4 will give you 12 divided by 7. Then the final result for y will now be equal to 36 plus 12 to give us 8, 4, which is 48 divided by 7. So this is your answer. Then you put them in brackets. That is all you are doing. If you put them in bracket, that will give you your coordinate of x and y. Let me put it in text. That is open your brackets. Now say x comma y will now be equals to 23 over 7, then if that, then the other coordinate is 48 over 7. Close your bracket. So that is your answer for this question. Let me see if it's correct with what we did here. So you can see that is the same answer. So that's how they got this answer: 23 over 7, 48 over 7. So that is how they got the answer. See, 23 over 7, 48 over 7. Just know how we got the formula. That is the essence of this explanation and proving. If not, I would have just shown you the formula and start solving. But it's good you know how the formula came about, so that when you are solving in exam, they can ask you to derive it, or you may forget it. If you know how it's gotten, it's okay. Remember that for midpoint and ratio is similar. They are similar formula. The only difference is in midpoint you equate x minus x1 equals to x2 minus x. You equate them and make x the subject. But for ratio, x minus x1 will divide x2 minus x, which will now be equals to the ratio, and I use p and q as my ratio, which is p over q. That is all we are talking about, which is what I have here. So take note of this, go through this lesson, and you see that it's very easy and simple. So as I promised in our first class, at the end of this coordinate geometry, we are going to solve enough wire questions so that you can understand how to solve some questions from external examination. So that is all for today. For external division, I told you when you have negative ratio, is the same formula. If this ratio were to be minus 4, this same formula will be applicable. You will get your result. So don't be afraid. Okay, let me just demonstrate it before we go for today. Let's say I have a negative value here. Let me say, for example, I have let's say minus 2. Let's say the ratio is P is minus 2, Q is 3. So you can see the answer. Okay, I have my answer here. You can see that the division is external. So the division of this ratio, the division of 2 minus 2 ratio 3. See, minus 2 ratio 3. You can see it's an external division. That is why the answer is not inside there. See, the answer is not inside there, it's outside. So that's what we are talking about. So you can see the answer, and the answer is minus 7 over minus 7 minus 6. That is the answer. You get what we are talking about. So that is the answer. So if you try this in that formula, because of time, let me just substitute fast. So if I substitute fast the ratio, you will discover that P is minus 2. So I'm going to have minus 2 here. Then this place will be minus 2. Then this place will be minus 2, minus 2. then this place is going to be minus 2. So if you use this one and solve, you will get the answer they got there. But let me just do it fast because of time. This is minus 2 times 5 will give us minus 10 plus 3 times 1, 3. So minus 10 plus 3 is going to give us minus 7. Then 3 minus 2 is 1. So you can see the first answer for x is minus 7. If you do same here, minus 2 times 9 here is going to give us minus 18. Then 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 18 is going to give us minus 6. Then 3 minus 2 is 1. So that is how they got this answer. That's how they got this answer here. So the formula applies for both external and internal. You can see it. External, the division point will be outside the line. So take note of that. So that is why the point minus 76 is not inside the line. You can see it. It's outside the line. So take note of that. So this is the end of our class of today. So just try and follow this class, apply everything we did today, and you see that it's not difficult. So this is division of a line into a given ratio. The ratio must be given and the two coordinates will be given. All you need to do is to substitute into this formula. You get for x and y. For y, you use y2 and y1 here. Yx will be x2 and x1. The same approach for deriving the formula. Similar to midpoint, you apply the same approach. The only difference is in midpoint, you equate these values here, x minus x1 equal to x2 minus x. But for ratio, you divide them, x minus x1 divided by x minus x2 equal to the two ratios p over q that is given. So that is the end of today's class. So for more practice, homework and assignment, you can practice these questions I have here. So if they are not difficult, just apply the formulas and you are okay. So you can see them. For the first one is on midpoint, you can practice them using the formula. Then the other one is for ratio, you can apply them using the formulas for ratio. So that is the end of today's class. Do have a nice day and take care.